This episode is supported by What Should I Do With My Money from Morgan Stanley. Okay, can we just talk about how money is legitimately one of the hardest topics to bring up? Like, even when you think you have your stuff together, there's always this really weird awkwardness around it. That's why I am obsessed with this podcast. It actually makes money conversations feel approachable. I recently listened to an episode about affording multiple big life things at once, like a wedding, a house, and IVF, if they were all happening at the same time. And honestly, it hit home. So many people are wondering, can we actually have it all without sacrificing our sanity or our savings? What I love is that they bring in real experts who help break down these massive costs into actual doable steps. It's like having a money mentor in your ear who gets it. Search for What Should I Do With My Money in your podcast player. We'll also include a link in the show notes. Many thanks to What Should I Do With My Money and Morgan Stanley for their support.
There are so many use cases and so many ways that we'll be able to deploy AI towards some of humanity's biggest issues. And then ultimately, I think AI is going to break a lot of the systems and structures that have been built that, quite honestly, aren't working for a lot of people.
I'm Jenna Kutcher, and I help you trade hustle for purpose and build a business that gives you the life you actually want to live. From a $300 Craigslist camera to a seven-figure business I run from home, I've learned that success isn't just about what you do, it's about how you live. Here, you'll get strategies that work, systems that give you your time back, and steps that turn your effort into results and impact. If you're ready for clarity, confidence, and a business that feels as good as it looks, you're in the right place. This is the Goal Digger Podcast. Picture this. You are scaling your business without burning out. Actually, let me be a little more specific. You're scaling with the help of a team that never sleeps, never needs a vacation, and costs you almost nothing. Does that sound impossible? It's not. And today's guest is here to show you exactly how. Natalie MacNeil is an Emmy Award-winning media entrepreneur, a futurist, and a visionary when it comes to AI and entrepreneurship. She was named one of Inc.'s 27 women leaders changing the world, and she is actively reshaping how we build businesses with her AI Dream Team, which is a system of 40 plus custom GPTs designed to support every core function of a business. But here's what I love about Natalie's approach and why I invited her to come on this show. This is not about replacing the human, heart-led parts of your business. It's about finally stopping the cycle of doing everything yourself, of burning out and resenting the business you've built. It's about reclaiming your time and your creative capacity so that you can focus on the work only you can do and on the joy you can experience in your life. If you have been drowning in the day-to-day, if you are tired of being the bottleneck in your own business, or if you're curious about how to use AI with integrity and strategy, this conversation is going to fundamentally change how you work. And hey, if you're curious about having an AI dream team, which you 1000% will be after this conversation, go to jennakutcher.com/AI. I have personally paid for and taken Natalie's course on this, and I mean it when I say it. She has saved me hours upon hours of time every single week. It has allowed me to pour back into my community, to get more active in my daughter's school. It has changed the way that I'm moving through life. It really is a game changer. And so if you embrace your AI partnership and follow Natalie's proven framework, I promise you it is going to amplify your reach and multiply your impact as a transformational leader. And I think the more of us that can use AI ethically and for good, the brighter our collective future will be. So again, go to jennakutcher.com/AI. We'll also link it for you in the show notes, but we're going to be talking about all of this and so much more. So Natalie, welcome to the Goal Digger Podcast. All right, Natalie, a lot of entrepreneurs are drowning in tasks that they absolutely hate, but they feel like they have to do them themselves. And so what is one thing that you have automated using your AI Dream Team that would shock most people to learn that AI can actually do it well?
Ooh, the one that I get the most shock reactions about is my AI money and investment manager.
Ooh.
So as an investor, I I've always loved analyzing markets and studying quarterly reports. I know I'm kind of nerdy that way. It's not everyone's jam. I know. And it can be really time consuming. And I've trained specifically Gemini. Gemini is really strong with financial data and numbers. So it acts as my personal money manager and advisor. And it maps trends for me, different things in our company, profit loss statements. It can do integrated into Google Sheets. So I feel like most business owners use Google Sheets.
Yeah.
You can now, in the right sidebar, you're going to find it probably in the top right, the Gemini button, and you can actually have Gemini build the sheets for you, analyze them. Like you can build a business dashboard that tracks your metrics and your financials. And I feel like anyone running a business, this integration can reclaim so much time. So that's the one that people are always most surprised about. And I give it more and more to do. And it's managing pretty much my whole portfolio as well.
Wow. Okay. We're going to talk about how this is even possible, but I want to start at the top. And I have been thinking about this so much. But I feel like there is a very weird level of guilt. I would like to say that it feels mainly reserved for women. And I'm curious, like, why do you think that so many of us feel guilty or almost like frauds when we automate or delegate, even if it frees us up to do better work? Like, what is a mindset shift that if somebody's listening to this and they are hesitant to use AI, they feel guilty using it, or they have just straight up said, not for me? What is a mindset shift that you think we need to consciously make to start to bridge that gap?
Ooh, I love this question. I feel like it's such a big one because ultimately we've been conditioned to equate our worth with our work. Like since the Industrial Revolution, our value as humans really became tied to productivity. And we became, you've maybe heard this before, human doings instead of human beings. Yeah. And I feel like entire generations were raised to believe that working hard was the ultimate virtue.
Yeah.
So when technology can do some of the hard work for us, it still is messing with our inner wiring. And I can see this in my own life and how it's played out. Like when I was a little girl, I already felt like I could see the future. I would watch the Jetsons on TV and I knew, Jenna, that that was my future. And I knew that that wasn't going to be, for future generations to get to experience. I knew that my future was going to look like that. We were going to have that kind of technology. And I knew that things were going to be easier because of technology. So when I would see people working really hard in their jobs, I actually already had a sense at a very young age that there was something that was going to shift in that, even if I didn't have the words for it that I have now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, hard work was really praised in my family. So whenever I would start automating something, and when I was having money come into my business to be able to start creating more systems and having that support and not having to directly trade my time for money, I actually found ways to make things hard for myself.
Ooh.
That made me feel valuable as a human because of my conditioning. And because of that upbringing and feeling like the only way I was valuable as a human is if I was working hard.
Yeah.
And I was
how do we undo that?
Yeah. So like this is something that I think we need to be doing that inner work.
Yeah.
To break down those beliefs, to prepare for this AI era that we're now in. So you need to work on decoupling your worth from your work, and you need to open to releasing hard work and actually letting things be easier. So when AI can do work that you used to have to do, don't go and find other things that will just keep you busy. Actually let things be easier and choose to do things that bring you joy in that space. And then I think that we can all be playing with and running some experiments in our lives right now to discover who we really are. Like, that's what I want people to be sitting with. The deeper question in this, even beyond the mindset shifts that we need to make, like starting to carry the belief that it gets to be easier and that we get to have support. We get to have free time to do things other than work. And then the deeper belief that we need to start shifting and sitting with is a redefinition of what it even means to be human. Like, to me, that's a deeper question that requires some space and some contemplation to be with. And I think that's where we get to go collectively in this era. And we've never really had that opportunity to explore what it means to be a human being. We spent so many years in survival, way back in our earlier existence as humanity. And then again, from the Industrial Revolution, there was a lot of survival attached to work still. And we worked and we kept ourselves really busy in that way. But we haven't really got the spaciousness that I think AI is going to allow us to have. And there are already countries that are implementing 4-day work weeks. There's now talk about the standard work week likely going to 3 days. And that means that people will actually get to start spending more of their lives being and choosing to fill their time with whatever is meaningful to them without spending the majority of their time, which most people do now, working. And that to me is really exciting. And it's going to bring up a lot. There's going to be a lot of, I think, chaos. There's going to be a lot of like collective existential crises that I think come up as we make that shift.
Yeah.
But that's ultimately where we're going. And I think the more you can sit with that and what that means to you, how you want to live your life, how you want to spend your time is going to set you up for what's coming.
Okay, I can totally get behind this vision because I have said for years, like, time is my currency. And a few years ago, I kind of went on what I coined my joy journey of like, who am I outside of the work I do? Like, I want my work to be the least interesting part of my life. And it was this journey. I mean, I signed up for the local rowing team, like rowing on Lake Superior. I took a sourdough class through community ed. I got chickens and bees and I planted a garden and I did all these different things. And I started volunteering at the local soup kitchen. And I just like literally just spread myself in as many directions as I could to figure out who am I outside of the roles I play, right? And it has made my life so rich. And I was just at an experience in Tennessee where you cannot say your last name and you cannot say what you do for work at onsite. And it's part of this therapy experience. I had a million things to talk about. Like, again, I was like, I did it. My work is the least interesting part of me. I could talk about everything. And it was just this beautiful reminder of what a passionate life can look like when time and space exists. Now, for many people, that's not the reality, right? That is a privilege to have time and space to explore those things. But as we start to look through the future, it isn't just going to be reserved for the privileged or the elite few to have this time to explore. In fact, I think those people might have the hardest time untangling themselves from the systems that have allowed them to get to the places they are. So I love this vision, and
I
think
that
it will
you
crack
get that.
people open. Yes, I think it will.
And I feel like what you chose to do, and I think it is important that we name the privilege that it's been to have that time. I do believe that where we're going, that we will have shorter work weeks. Like, it doesn't make sense right now to have a 40-hour work week. That is pretty arbitrary, right?
Yep.
Somebody made that up. And we started to create that through manufacturing and through line work, right? Assembly work started to form these work weeks that don't always make sense. So why not do your work based on certain outputs, goals that you're reaching? Why does it all need to be so timed? Why do you need to be in an office from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday? We've made all of this up.
Yeah.
and we collectively buy into it, but I'm already starting to see that shifting in some parts of the world more than others. But what you're speaking to, like going out, trying new things, and I love to do that as well and be in the experimentation. Go volunteer, go try something that's completely outside of your comfort zone. I think those are the things that are actually in this moment, while we're moving through a lot of uncertainty in these coming years, I think those are the things that are going to help you to move towards what's coming better than anything else.
Yeah. I want to talk about the systems you set up, but before we do, I do want to touch on, I think that when I think of AI and the fear that is often coupled with it, I think there are concerns, right? There are a lot of concerns, and there's environmental factors. There are factors of like, we're almost building this Frankenstein without consciousness. Walk me through your thoughts of this, because there are people listening who are vehemently against AI and who might not understand how it can impact their life or what their use could even look like.
Yes, I spend a lot of time in these conversations.
Yeah.
And first, for anyone listening who have fears about AI, your fears are totally valid.
Yeah.
And I know people who work on AI regulation and policy. That's not my specific zone that I'm most passionate about. There are other people who have the skill sets to do that work, and those conversations are happening. And it's important that we have regulation. It's important that we are building this in a safe and ethical and responsible way. So I'm an advocate for all of that. And I think what we're missing, I think what a lot of people are missing in this conversation, and as we're moving towards an AI-powered future, are the possibilities. And also, we almost can't see it from our current consciousness. So one of the stories I love to tell people is actually a story that one of my teachers, Richard Rudd, who channeled the Gene Keys, if anyone's familiar with that body of work, it's beautiful. He talks about the story of the dragonfly. And a lot of people talk about metamorphosis through the lens of the butterfly. The dragonfly is a really cool story, because the dragonfly, what a lot of people don't understand and know, is that it begins its life as a water nymph. It lives in the water. It only knows the water. And through its divine, evolutionary impulse, it eats and eats and eats and eats. And one day it has this impulse. It climbs up this reed, and it climbs up this reed and out of the water, and it dries out. It dries out and it splits open. And it gets these wings. It gets this brand new body and form, and it takes off and flies through the air. And it's no longer a creature of the water. It's a creature of the air. Talk about a metamorphosis. But from the perspective of the water nymph can't imagine flying through the air. That is us right now. From our present consciousness, I think it's hard for a lot of people to imagine what we're moving towards. But one day we too will have that metamorphosis where it's as radical as being underwater for our lives and then being in the air, flying through the air for the rest of our lives. And there are so many possibilities with AI. So the environmental impact, that was a big concern of mine too, something that you brought up. And research is now showing that the environmental impact of a prompt is much lower than we originally thought it was, much lower than the data that we had 18 months ago. Yeah. And it will get more and more efficient. So right now we're in this big build stage. It will get more efficient. The models will get more efficient. It will use less power as we move forward. So this isn't a I don't believe that we're now in a period where we're going to need exponentially more energy and more power. We're going to see a peak in that, and then we'll actually have a lot more energy efficiency. AI has the power to make things more efficient as well, to help us solve really complex problems like our climate crisis. AI, I've seen early uses of it doing diagnostics in a way that will radically improve our health outcomes and healthcare. So there are so many use cases and so many ways that we'll be able to deploy AI towards some of humanity's biggest issues. And then ultimately, I think AI is going to break a lot of the systems and structures that have been built that, quite honestly, aren't working for a lot of people, are not equitable. And I think we have an opportunity to build something more beautiful in its place. And we all have a role to play in that. If you're listening to this podcast right now, you have a role to play in that. And I think we need to focus on our individual contribution as well. So even something like our energy use, it's on the big companies to, of course, be making sure that they are practicing environmentally sustainable AI. And many of the big tech companies are trying to make sure that their data consumption is carbon neutral. And for us as the individual, we can't control that, but we can, through our own use, be really efficient with our prompting. That's one of the things that I teach. The more efficient we are, the more we build out custom GPTs, for example, for roles in our business or in our lives, that custom GPT and custom AI workflow can give you an output that is ready to go on prompt one instead of you having to go back and forth, which actually spends more energy as well. So there are little things that you can do, and there are big things that you can do to step into being a leader of this future.
A few months ago, I got my colors done and I learned that your girl is an autumn, which means out with the black and in with the brown. I have been rebuilding a capsule wardrobe lately, and my all-time favorite place to shop is Revolve. They add new products daily and you can sort by color and size and even build out wish lists. I recently got these brown Autry sneakers that I am obsessed with, and I snagged this suede bag that I couldn't stop eyeing for fall. Plus, they have inclusive sizing and constant new arrivals, which means there's always something that can fit your life and your style. Whether it's a weekend away, a big night out, or just a little style refresh, your dream wardrobe is just one click away. Head to revolve.com/goaldigger, shop my edit, and take 15% off your first order with the code goaldigger. Fast 2-day shipping, easy returns. It's literally the only place you need to shop from. That's revolve.com/goaldigger to shop my favorites and get 15% off your first order using the code goaldigger. Offer ends December 14th, so happy shopping. Let's be real. As business owners, we know a reliable connection isn't optional. I've had my fair share of slow and lagging internet, and let me tell you, nothing kills your groove faster. It is the ultimate productivity killer. You can't process payments, you can't talk to clients, and your team feels stuck waiting on you. Back when I started my business, I learned pretty quickly that things only run as smoothly as your connection does. And that's why I love what Spectrum Business is doing. They get it. They know that reliable systems keep your business running, your clients happy, and your stress levels low. Spectrum Business offers internet, advanced Wi-Fi, phone, TV, and mobile services built for your budget. And here's the best part. You can get free business internet forever when you add 4 mobile lines. No contracts, no added fees, just dependable service that keeps your business moving forward. Visit spectrum.com/free for life to learn how you can get business internet free forever. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas. Okay, thank you for addressing those things, because I feel like there's this undercurrent in every AI conversation. And I feel like I have personally been unpacking how this is another way that patriarchy is almost pushed onto women. I don't hear many large corporations saying, I'm fearful of this technology. I will not utilize it because of this. But I hear a lot of individuals and women saying, I am not going to do this. And I feel like when we look at the usage of a small business owner in comparison to a large corporation, that fear is not justly put onto the small business owner who could be using this to streamline their systems, to give back to their communities, to get back their time, to pour back into their families. And so I just want to point out that there are much bigger systems at play that keep us playing small and keep us fearful from utilizing tools that can actually help us get back into the most meaningful work of our lives.
100%. I think it's so important that we're all engaging in a way that is conscious, that is ethical. AI expert Mo Gada talks about how right now we are in many ways training children, and how we're working with AI will actually inform how it is as a teenager. Who it becomes as an adult, right? And if that is true, if we are right now influencing a child, if we are training a child, who do you want doing that training? Who do you want having those interactions? What can you bring to those interactions? Yeah. And I think we should all be interacting with AI in that way, through this lens of, this is a child right now. Yeah. And I'm having, it may be a tiny little impact, but I'm having a tiny little impact on this child. And if we can think about it in that way, I think we also open ourselves to so many more possibilities. And I think we just open our hearts to working with this technology. There's so many ways that we can work with it, right? We all get to choose that. It can be used for bad purposes, right? For things that we don't want to see happening, but it can be used for so much good as well. It's all about how we choose to relate to it and make it relational. I think that's really important too.
Yes. So I have learned so much from you about AI. And I heard you on a podcast and I immediately slid into your DMs and I'm like, I am buying your program. I want to learn from you. It was the first time that I'd really heard AI through this lens of consciousness and from the standpoint of how are we doing it to get our life back, to get our time back, to get resources to actually make a beautiful difference. And I think for so many people, it has been positioned as almost this enemy or something that we need to fight against instead of work with. And so let's talk about how you started to build out your business and what you call your AI dream team. How did this all come to be and what does it look like on the other side of building this team?
Ooh, so I am a huge data nerd. And as a futurist, I read for hours every day. And I'm usually pretty far ahead of the curve on what's coming. So back in 2017, 2018, that's when I started seeing a really big shift in AI and a move towards more accessible AI, because a lot of technologies exist, but they don't actually reach the masses until there's some type of interface that makes it more accessible, more user-friendly, like what we got with ChatGPT. Yep. But even before ChatGPT in 2022, before that, we were already seeing big advancements. And I knew that ChatGPT moment, that moment where there was something that was going to have a really clean interface and reach the masses, was right around the corner. And so I was preparing for it. And before ChatGPT, there was Jasper. Jasper was one of the first copy content AI systems that we could use. And I did a lot of testing. And I feel like that early testing allowed me to go further faster when we actually had ChatGPT. And I could sort of push it a little more to its limits instead of just using it as a basic search engine or for my random questions and curiosities. So I started to think about how we could use it, work with it to free up more time. Like, how can I actually have this fill roles in my business? What kind of data and information does it need? And I created this 3C's prompt framework, which is clarity, context, and cues. Every time you are prompting, you need to be really clear. You need to give it a role and a goal. So make it a role that is world class, not just act as a copywriter, like act as a world-class copywriter who has worked with these clients, who has won these awards in the copywriting industry. Like, make it really robust what that role actually is, and then a very clear goal. And then you have to give it, the second C is context. You have to give it so much context about your business, about your ideal customer. This is something that people still miss out on. And then the third C is cues, and cues are all the supplemental data that it needs. So your business plan and strategy and uploads of content that you've written in the past so that it can understand your voice. So I started doing these really comprehensive prompts that allowed it to actually start taking over tasks in my business. And what I loved about that was the time that it gave me back and how much more we can get done as a very small team. So I'm able to amplify my work in the world and stay in my zone of genius. For me personally, as an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur and creator online for a really long time, I don't know about you, Jenna, but when the team gets too big, when the business gets too big, and I'm spending a lot of time managing and in feedback loops, I feel like it's not as fulfilling for me. I want to be here.
Yes.
I want to be like working with people. I want the relational part of the business. I want to feel creative. Do you find that?
Oh, 100%. I have always had a team under 10, and now it's about like half of that size. And I love it.
Same. That for me is my sweet spot. That like 5-person team.
Yep.
But a 5-person team that can do so much, right? Because now
and you can
on
do
my
a
team,
multi-million-dollar business. If that is your goal, if that is your ruler, you can do that with a team of 5. You can also make a huge impact and impact the masses with a team of 5. Like, I don't think you need much bigger than that, in my personal opinion.
And maybe even smaller with AI, because now all of your team members get to have their own AI dream team. So my integrator and ops manager, she manages our AI dream team and any human team members that work with us as well. But I get to be in my zone of genius so much more.
Yes.
And that has been a game changer for my whole life. Like, I've never been more happy and fulfilled than I am in this moment. And a big part of that is because of my collaborations with AI and having this AI dream team.
Okay, so how did the dream team come into fruition? Like, who's on the dream team? How do you figure out the roles they play? What does this look like? Are you talking to robots all day? Like, break this down for us so that we can visualize almost like the org chart and what it looks like.
Yeah. I love talking about this, and I'm going to get really nerdy here, I'm sure. So I first want to say that as the technology advances, we can do more and more and more. So what a lot of people need right now in this moment are the custom GPTs that are trained on very specific roles in your business.
Yep.
There's custom GPTs in ChatGPT. There's projects in Claude, and projects in Claude function in a very similar way. They're pretty much the same thing, where you are creating a role and you're filling a knowledge base with all of your information and data. Yeah. I leave Post-it notes all over the place saying like, can AI be helping you with this right now? Down to even getting ready, like ChatGPT advanced video mode can look around your closet and be like, ooh, I see a great outfit combination. If you grab that and that's going to be a really great outfit for that particular appearance. Or it can even consult with you on life things. And I use it for specific roles because just like how if you were hiring team members, you wouldn't hire one person to be your COO and your copywriter and your designer and your bookkeeper and your coach all in one, right? But that's what I find a lot of people still do with AI. So one of the biggest mistakes that I'm seeing is that people try to build one GPT that does everything. But that really is like hiring one person and handing them your entire company. And it starts to dilute that focus and creativity and also accuracy, because if you have it do too much, that's where it's more likely to hallucinate. That's where it might be pulling contradictory information, like maybe the parameters you've set around creating content are different from parameters that you set around operations. So there starts to be a lot of like cross-wired confusion, and we don't want that. So specificity turns AI into a true collaborator. And I would say that anything that's specific down to subject lines, like I have a custom GPT that just specializes in creating the highest open rates in the industry. And I've been able to test this in my newsletter. And my newsletter is like the highest open rates I've pretty much ever seen. And it's very consistent. Like we will consistently get a 60% open rate on emails, which is for anyone who's in the online marketing space, you know that 60% as an open rate is kind of insane. So anything like that, even though it's small, you can have a custom GPT do that. And then not that you have to automate everything, but there are ways that you can automate this. So if you have a marketing strategist GPT that is trained on your company's information and your ideal client, you can actually tag in the subject line writer GPT, and you can do that right within the ChatGPT interface, and they can work together. Or you can use a tool like Taskade or MindPal, and you can create an automation where every Sunday, the marketing strategist will, without you having to even prompt, will create a new task for this week's email and send it to your content creator to write the actual content and to the subject line writer to create the subject line, which ends up being a more strategic process for sure, with better results overall than just having one GPT that's doing everything for you. So that's one example of how you can create those workflows. I think most people to start probably need the content creator for the types of businesses that I'm sure many people in your community have, the online businesses, coaches, course creators, consultants. Like, make sure that you've got that content creator working well. And operations, one of the GPTs I've been building with some of my clients is an OS for the company, trained in all the SOPs, all of the project management plans. You can have it create things that can be exported to Asana as well in your project management system, or Notion, which is really cool. And then Claude just dropped a new feature called Skills. And what I love about this and using Claude is that a skill can be applied to your entire Claude dashboard. So if there are things like SOPs in your business, I just created a design skill so that it's trained on my entire brand if I want to create graphics from Claude. And that's just plugged into the central system. So what's really cool is that you can plug in these skills. Imagine we could do that as humans. It's coming. But imagine I could be like, Jenna, I'm going to plug in the, sourdough queen skill.
I mean, imagine
your operating system, and you're immediately going to be able to bake the most perfect loaf of French sourdough.
That's so
skills
cool.
I highly recommend checking out in Claude as well.
Okay, I have learned so much from you. So I became like a student of you. I took your course. I was like the girl. So this was every day I would go do my sauna in the afternoon and I would watch your course through the glass door and just consume it. That gives you the visual. And I learned so much because I think that there is so much to be said about learning how to work with it, learning how to guide it, and also just figuring out places in your life. Like I loved when you had said inside your program, you say like, I've posted notes of like, can AI do this? And what I've found is that there are so many uses, right? Like one example is we did a survey of my audience. We hadn't done an audience survey in a long time. And part of the reason why I didn't want to do a survey is that oftentimes I get so overwhelmed with all the results that I have trouble extrapolating themes or terms or desires or pains. And so it just feels like so much information that I have a hard time with my brain filtering through of like, okay, what do I do with this? And AI has helped us create the best ideal client avatar using our survey, but not even just one ICA. We now have ideal client avatars for every single program, every single offer, because we were able to extrapolate information from one survey saying, if somebody is struggling with this and this is the correct solution, tell me their main pain points, tell me their key messages, tell me what their deep desire is. And so this is just one use case of something that used to feel really overwhelming, something that was like so much data and information that I didn't know what to do with, in a way that allows us to speak clearer. It allows us to reach the right people. It allows us to make sure our messaging is landing, and it allows us to help the people who truly need what we have to sell. And so like, this is just one use case, but it's interesting to me because I feel like just that question of like, what can AI do? I mean, the other day we ate this meal and my kids, they're not picky eaters. They just know what they like. And they were slurping up this ramen. And Drew was like, where'd you get this recipe? And I was like, ChatGPT. I told it what my kids will eat. I told it the types of food we want. I told it our dietary needs. And here was this recipe, right? And so there's so many ways we can be using it. And I think we're just scratching the surface in most cases.
Yes, especially as we get more into agentic AI. So one of the things that's just starting to roll out now is agentic commerce. I think in the very near future, you'll even be able to take those recipes and you can have them connected to your account, like a Whole Foods delivery, for example, and it will be able to actually deliver the ingredients that you need because it will be able to bridge that step between what you need and actually doing the shop for you. So lots of little things that can be automated. And I recently, with my niece, I made stories. I made her custom stories where she's the star of the story. And we took her on this intergalactic journey that had a lot of little mindset shifts and beliefs woven into it, like beliefs that are empowering.
Yes.
And beliefs around self-love. And they were woven throughout this beautiful story. And, you know, you can create these custom stories for kids. There's just so much that you can do, even beyond your business. And of course, the business use cases are incredible. And also in our lives, there's a new ChatGPT feature. It's pretty recent, called Pulse. And it's an expansion of ChatGPT's memory so that it can be more proactive with you based on everything it remembers about you. And you can actually go into your settings and personalization, and you can personalize your pulse a little bit. So now I have this in the morning, it's proactive with me. It's like, hey, today's a Wednesday, which means it's a call day. This is what you need to prep for. I've already made you some notes about this, and it will do this daily dispatch for you, which is really cool. A lot of people don't know you can create tasks in ChatGPT as well. So it can actually remind you of things. So you can prompt it to give you reminders, and you can use that in a variety of super creative ways as well.
Okay, it is officially that time of year. And if you run a business, you know the holiday rush is no joke. I've done more Black Fridays than I can count at this point, and let me tell you, orders at 2 a.m., inventory updates, refreshing my site hoping it can keep up. It never stops being intense. That is exactly why I use Shopify. It keeps everything running smoothly when things get their craziest. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US, from household names to entrepreneurs who will be participating in their first Black Friday Cyber Monday this year. They've got ready-to-use templates, AI tools, and support available 24/7 so that selling stays simple even during the peak madness. And ShopPay's quick checkout, well, it's a game changer. It means way fewer abandoned carts and way more happy customers. This Black Friday, join the thousands of new entrepreneurs hearing for the first time with Shopify. Sign up for your free trial today at shopify.com/goaldigger. That's shopify.com/goaldigger. Go to shopify.com/goaldigger and make this Black Friday one to remember. It's time for Black Friday, Dell Technologies' biggest sale of the year. That's right, you'll find huge savings on select Dell PCs like the Dell 16 Plus with Intel Core Ultra processors. And with built-in advanced AI features, it's the PC that helps you do more faster. From smarter multitasking to extended battery life, these PCs get the busy work done so you can focus on what matters most to you. Plus, earn Dell rewards and enjoy many other benefits like free shipping, expert support, price match guarantee, and flexible financing options. They also have the biggest deals on accessories that pair perfectly with your Dell PC, improving the way you work, play, and connect. Whether you just started holiday shopping or you're finishing up, these PCs and accessories make perfect gifts for everyone on your list. Shop now at Dell.com/deals and don't miss out. That's Dell.com/deals. I am such a homebody at heart, but I love when travel reminds me just how beautiful it is to step outside of our routine. For the kids' fall break, we booked a stay on a small farm near Nashville through Airbnb, and it was one of the most memorable trips we've taken this year. We met donkeys, goats, and pigs, and the kids got to pick peppers in their greenhouse. Watching them run around the farm, getting their hands dirty and laughing the whole time was such a joy. It was peaceful. It was full of those little moments that literally just make you pause and feel connected. That trip reminded me why I love using Airbnb. It connects you to places and experiences that really stay with you. If you've ever thought about hosting your home on Airbnb, it doesn't take much. Whether it's your entire house or just a spare room, your space could offer that same feeling to someone else and even earn you some extra income. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host. You do one that I learned from you that I love is like how you consume the news, which I think is something that is very crippling for people. It's like when you jump online now, you have no idea what you're about to see, right? Like your nervous system is already nervous about the headlines you're about to consume. And I learned from you that you have something that will drop you like non-biased news in the format that you want to read it in the morning. And like you are in control of the consumption of what you're consuming, how, when, and where it's pulling from, right?
Yes. And I'm a Canadian living in the United States, and I go back to Canada and I'll watch the news, and it's a very different experience. Yes. News in the United States is so sensationalized and it's very fear driven, and they have all these people commenting on what's happening instead of being like, this is what happened in the country and in the world today. Yes. Just neutral delivery of what's going on. I have my degree in international political science. I love tracking geopolitics and what's happening. I cannot let myself get consumed by the algorithms, by the news cycle, like the major media cycle, especially in the US. So I have it just deliver. And this is something you can set up again as a task in ChatGPT, and it can just give you the key stories around certain points. You can also specify where you live, your local community, your state, that you want the most important news for you and your family. We do not need to be tracking every single thing that's happening. So That's another great use case.
Yeah. How do you recommend like using AI without feeling like you're losing your voice or you're losing like this human-centered feel in your business? Like, especially for creative and heart-led entrepreneurs, which is my community, right? It's these people that have this passion and they don't want to lose that. They don't want to sound robotic. What's the tip there?
Ooh, so if you are collaborating with AI, as I think your community, heart-led, values-driven entrepreneurs, same with the community that I serve. And I highly recommend plugging in humanization prompting into the especially creative work that you're doing. I also prefer Claude over ChatGPT. It has more humanness to the outputs. It's trained in more human values as well. So I'm a big fan of Claude for that. And humanization prompting is an added layer that ensures that every output sounds alive and conversational and emotionally intelligent. So what that often includes is an elimination. So hard rules around eliminating a lot of the things that make something an AI giveaway.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people,
this, not
all
that.
the M dashes,
Yes.
It's not this, it's
Yes.
that. We're not going to be in Y, we're going to get to Z. Like there's a lot of these negation structures and things that really make you aware that it's AI, which I think can end up building distrust with people as well. If you're doing that and people feel like it's just robotic and you're not in it. So one of the things that I love doing the most is actually uploading your conversational language. So you can use humanization prompting to set those rules to make sure that outputs have it check. Make sure you check your response and ensure that it sounds and feels like a human would say it in natural human language. Make sure that it feels alive. Make sure that it's emotionally intelligent. So you can have those checkpoints. But I like to, in the queues, especially for a custom GPT, and your content absolutely needs to be a custom GPT, you can upload conversation. So I will have the voice mode, advanced voice mode in ChatGPT, or you can use voice mode in Claude, have it interview you about the things that you're passionate about. Have it interview you about the deeper layers of who you are and what you care about. And ask it to ask you at least 20 questions to really get to know you. I upload that entire conversation transcript into the knowledge base of my content GPT, and I have those conversations frequently, and I keep putting them in there because that's how it learns who I am. And the more that you can train it on things like that or past things that you've written, the more it's going to feel like you. And then always make sure you still read through it and update it. And when you're prompting, even your custom GPT, make sure you're sharing a story that's recent and relevant. Make sure you're weaving in some lessons and learnings from your own life so that it has that personalization. And then for the time that actually gets freed up with AI, spend that time on the relationships in your business. So because AI can do some of this work that used to keep me busy or used to keep me managing a lot of things, I can actually interact a little more with my clients. I can take 3 to 4 hours to write my newsletter. And I collaborate with AI on my newsletter, but there's a lot that I write in myself because it's based on my current insights and the experiments that I'm running as I continue to expand my AI dream team. So it takes me a long time to do that, but people feel it. And I get so many responses to that. And I think it's because I have the space to pour my heart into that newsletter. And I haven't felt like I've had that space in many past years running my business.
Oh, I can resonate to all of this. I have recently taken back all the writing in my company, like all of it, every email. Like I love writing again because I have learned the tools and the ways to do it in a way that it is pouring out of my heart, but it's the best version of all the things I want to say, right? So it's like, help me be clear in this. Help me make this story richer. What details am I missing? Call out my blind spots. And it's fascinating because I feel like in so many ways, it's bringing me back to my roots. I started as an OG blogger, and somewhere along the way, I stopped writing the copy myself and started reviewing it. And now I'm back in that seat of writing it. And I've learned so many things from you in this, of even having conversations. Now, when I go to outline a podcast, I start the voice mode and I start talking about, here's what I want to say. Here's why this matters. Here's how I do this. Here's the strategy. Help me organize this in a way that is easy to comprehend and inspire somebody to actually take action on this, right? And so it is all coming from me, but it is helping my ADHD brain sort this in a logical way that actually will help people take the actions that I've wanted them to take, right? And so it's been such a partner in the work that I do. I think it's helped me be more clear of a communicator. I think it's helped me fall back in love with a lot of the aspects that I lost because I didn't have time for them. And I've learned just so much through your teaching of how to do this in a way that is pure and that feels honest and true, but also in a way that has given me so much more bandwidth and time in my life. It's incredible.
Thank you for sharing that. That's so inspiring to hear how you're using it as well. And what you're speaking to is really essential because there have been studies done recently on cognitive debt and how when you're just having AI do everything for you and you're not having that back and forth, which to me, it needs to be a collaboration. It needs to be relational. And when you make it collaborative, when you make it relational, when you ask it to point things out to you, when you ask it to help you to form an idea and you're having that back and forth, there's cognitive potential that opens up. It can actually make us the latest research, which ironically is also from MIT, which published this big paper on the cognitive debt piece.
Yep.
But actually, they're finding that it can open more creativity if you're using it in the right way. And that cognitive potential, I think, is really exciting because there are parts of our brain and there are aspects of our creativity that we're not even tapped into.
Yes.
What is actually possible when we have this creative partner and this collaborator that can see things that we don't see, that can approach it from a different angle, that can give us a different perspective. And what does that end up doing to our overall creativity? Look at what's happening with Sora 2 or with Veo 3. Again, we can use these generative video creators for purposes that are not very conscious and to create misinformation, and that's a concern. We can also use them to tell stories that have never been told. We can, I built my first business in the production and media industry, and we had a whole team of animators, and it took a lot to produce the interactive films that we would produce. And that would be a barrier to so many people. And now anyone is going to be able to create a show pilot or a movie. And I feel like that use of our creativity is also going to expand consciousness in new ways. So there's a lot to be excited about. And I love all the ways that you're presently using it in your business and in your life.
Yeah. I mean, it's been so amazing because I feel like when you learn how to approach it and you learn how to train it, it really does just amplify your works. How you say money helps magnify. So if you are a not good person, you have a lot of money, that is magnified. If you are a good person and you get money, that is also magnified. And so it can be that thing. And I feel like the same goes with AI in terms of your intention and your consciousness around it, but also your desire. One recent example is I have created so many custom GPTs for my podcast. And so there's one that will create show notes from a transcript, one that titles the episodes, one, I've trained it on almost a decade's worth of knowledge of running a podcast, right? And recently we had a launch and I was like, what if we gave this to our students? Not just the systems and the structure of how to do this, but actually having the assistant that we are leveraging that has saved us so much time, that is trained on everything we have built for our show. What if we share that knowledge and that level of expertise of a top rated show with 100 million downloads? What if they had access to that and they could ask it questions at any time of day? And what would that look like? Like, that's crazy, right? No, it's not crazy. And so we gave it to all of our students, past and current. And I have never gotten so many emails of like, this alone is worth the cost. Like, this has changed my experience. This has elevated my show. And so I also just think too, it can do so much good when you can share the knowledge around it and expand people's beliefs around what's possible with it, which is exactly what you do and have done for me. And then I get to do the same for others. And so I just think, man, I'm excited. I love it. I think you have expanded what I believe is possible. And I think that this conversation in turn is going to do the same.
Yeah. And everybody needs to now become an AI integrated entrepreneur. Your business needs to be AI integrated for 2026 and beyond. And that's my invitation for everybody listening. Imagine, I remember the 1990s. You remember the 1990s?
Yeah, I was born in 1988. Sure. Yeah. So yes.
Okay. I'm an 86 baby.
Yes.
And I grew up with the internet in some way. You know, the internet was very different, obviously, in 94, 95. But if you can think back and look back to the 90s and imagine you could travel back in time to 1995 with the wisdom that you have now. What would you choose to do? Would you choose to not engage at all with the internet? Which there were people, by the way, in 1995 saying, I'm not going to engage with this thing. But guess what? Over the years, over 30 plus years, we ended up, every business now needs to be an internet business in some way. And we ended up fully embracing that. And the internet has revolutionized our world, for better, for worse, however you want to look at it. It's introduced me to amazing people. Many of my friends I've actually connected with on Instagram and through our industry. And we get to be here having this conversation. How beautiful. But what would you choose to do if you could go back to 1995 with the information that you have now? What opportunities might you take? What might you invest in? How would you choose to approach your career? And now we have a very similar moment that we are in, and every business is going to become an AI integrated business. I think that there's going to be a collapse of time. This is going to happen on a much larger scale than how the internet revolutionized things. And it's going to happen a lot faster. We're operating now in collapsed time. So what's going to change over the next 5 to 10 years, there are some people that are saying it's going to be 1,000 years of human progress that happens in this really condensed period of time. And you can look at that and it can bring up fear. And I think if we're embodying fear, we are going to create more of that. That becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Or you can embody hope and you can choose to see the possibilities, because when you are embodying hope, your brain is more open to the opportunities that exist around you and for the ways that you can individually contribute and play your part. And I think that that is an incredible responsibility and also such a gift that we have. And each one of us has a role to play in that and a role to play in leading the future.
Thank you for sharing that. Will you give us a quick synopsis of what AI Dream Team is? It's the offer I literally jumped into the day I DM'd you. And one of the only courses I've taken this year, and it's been fundamentally life-changing for me.
I've got a good update in there coming for you real soon for some added things that you can dive into. AI Dream Team is my signature AI program for heart-led, values-driven entrepreneurs to collaborate with AI in an ethical and embodied way to free up more of your time to be in your zone of genius. So you will start by building an AI CEO, a marketing strategist, a content creator, a project manager, a personal coach, and you will be guided through that. You'll receive instruction sets to help you do that, to create your GPTs and projects, your Claude skills to further train that AI Dream Team. And then you also get access to a collection of my AI Dream Team members as well that are trained on years of business experience and launches and planning and really what works. So there are GPTs for writing your sales pages and developing curriculums, and you have access to all of those as well. And they can be plugged into your AI Dream Team. So you'll build your own AI Dream Team trained on your business and your genius. And then you'll also get my AI Dream Team, which is kind of like a team of consultants and coaches that are going to be able to work with your AI Dream Team to make it even more powerful.
I'm obsessed and I love it. And also you are constantly in there updating and sharing what you're doing. And so I just feel like it is a masterclass. As you consume just a small level of news, I consume just a small level of AI, which is through your lens. And I feel like I'm being safely led into this next stage. If you go to jennakutcher.com/AI, we are linking the AI Dream Team. I cannot recommend it enough. I think it really shifted my fear around AI, and it also just opened up possibility and an understanding of how to use it in the way that I think most of us desire to and are concerned that we can't. And there is proof that you can. Thank you for leading us through all of this. Thank you for everything. Where can everybody find you and connect with you and learn more about you?
NatalieMacNeil.com. You can link up to my newsletter and some freebies that I've got for you as well. And then on Instagram at Natalie MacNeil, and send me a DM and let me know what you're taking away from the interview. I love getting to hear from people personally. And it's one of the things, again, that I love about having the AI Dream Team, because now I have more space to actually connect with people. And yeah, I'd love to hear from you as well. You.
I swear this conversation right now, if I had to put a pin in the map of our lives, it is going to change the way that we work. And I grappled with a lot of the things you might be grappling with when it comes to AI, the ethics, the consciousness, the environmental impacts. And I feel like Natalie is truly a trailblazer in how she is teaching this and how she is allowing us to do meaningful work in less time, to get back our lives, to be able to pour our precious time and joy and heart and passions into our communities and our families in ways that have simply not been possible until now. If you want to check out Natalie's course, which I fully support, it is jennakutcher.com/AI. That's jennakutcher.com/AI. I am a paying student who is very much studying the work that she does and the way that she teaches. And it has deeply impacted my life and my work to a point where I have more time back so that I can do the things that I love. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you know someone who could benefit from this conversation, please be a good friend and share it with them. I would love to hear your thoughts and what you have gained from this episode, just like Natalie would. And of course, until next time, goal diggers, keep on digging your biggest goals. And remember, you do not have to do this all on your own. Thanks for listening to the Goal Digger podcast. I hope today left you inspired and equipped with something you can put into action as you build a business that truly supports your life. If this episode resonated with you, here's how you can help the show reach even more entrepreneurs. Hit follow, share it with a friend who's building something meaningful, and if you're feeling generous, leave us a review. Those reviews help other listeners discover these conversations when they need them the most. This show has become so much more than I ever imagined, and it's because of listeners like you who show up and share. You are helping build something that will inspire entrepreneurs for years to come. For show notes, links, and resources, head to goaldiggerpodcast.com. Keep digging your biggest goals. The world needs what you're building.
Please note, this episode may contain paid endorsements and advertisements, and individuals on the show may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to in the episode. Your support through affiliate links or sponsored content helps us continue to bring you valuable content. Thank you for being a part of the Goal Digger community.